lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Make a Misfit and welcome to another update for paranormal pantivity. Now, all things considering, I think this is a pretty decent update. I did find my notebook with all of the prompts that I have written out for this project, like from the very beginning. So I'm going to go through like this list going forward. I can actually tell you guys what the prompt is and like what it means, and when I start to roll products in, I'm just going to go based off of this list and what is remaining that I need to work on instead of randomizing the whole list. So let's start with this update. And of course, we're going to start off with the product that has two prompts attached to it. We have a Revenant and we have a Doppelgänger. Now, Doppelgänger is the product that you have a duo or backup of. So that is this one right here, the Orgasm Blush. And then Revenant is something that keeps coming back into your collection. And that is the Laguna bronzer, of course. So you're not going to be able to see any sort of visual progress on this, but I can tell you that I've been focusing on this Laguna bronzer quite a bit. Lately, it's only been this bronzer that I've actually been focusing on, so I'm not pairing multiple bronzers together like I usually do. But part of that reason is this bronzer is a little bit too dark for me for this time of year. I am using a duo fiber bronzing brush, so it does pick up like very little product, so it is very light going on. But even at that, today I used like another brush that I normally will use, so it is more dense, but I picked up a very light amount of it. So I don't know if you can see it, but I think I can see a little bit more of the bronzer today. But until we're more into the spring and summertime, I know I'll for sure still be working on this bronzer. So at that point is probably when you might see a little bit more usage. I'll be going just slightly more heavy-handed when I get a little bit of a tan, but I'll also probably start pairing it with other bronzers just to change it up a little bit. But I have been wearing this every day, and like I said, pretty much the only bronzer I have been wearing. So there is progress, you're just not able to see it. And then for this blush, I think it was like yesterday I wore it, or maybe today. I reach for it once in a while. It's kind of the blush that I decide I'm going to wear when I really don't know what else I want to wear. I'm really just like focusing on the blush in my Pat McGrath palette, which is my Pan That Face palette this year. I really like those blushes. So that has just kind of taken priority over this blush. Now, my goal for both of these is to hit pan. I really don't know if that's going to happen before the end of this project, which does end in September. If it does, I think it'll be more so the bronzer than the blush. But if I don't hit pan on either of them, I'm going to be fine with that. I'm very happy with the fact that I pulled this into this project because at least it's getting use, a lot more use than it would be if it was just hanging out in my collection. I probably wouldn't be reaching for it at all. I'd be using a completely different bronzer and I wouldn't even reach for this blush. Now, I have finished off this highlighter quite a long time ago, so I do want to eventually completely finish this up and get it out of here. But in the meantime, I'm happy with the little bit of progress that it's been getting, and whatever the progress may be over the 12-month period that this project runs, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be content with that. And just knowing that this is getting some love is better than none at all. So another prompt that has been in since the beginning is Necromancy. Nope, that's a different one. Ghost, which is something with unfinished business. So I have my ABH and Norvina palette. If you saw the last update, you know the story. But this is what these 4 shades are still currently looking like. There has been no changes. If you know the story with my eyes right now, you'll know that that is part of the reason why. I do think that I could probably knock this shade out first. Maybe these two, if I pair these two together a lot. And then I feel like more summertime, I could probably get these two out. They're more of like the gold shades. So gold and summer and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like that's when those will finally go. I would like for these last 4 shades to be out of my collection, but we'll get there when we get there. And if it takes the rest of this project, then it takes the rest of this project. I just really haven't felt gravitated towards any of the shades that were in those palettes for quite a while. But with these 4 remaining, I really want to make sure that they get some more use, get some more love, and get them out at some point. So next was Necromancy, which, like I just said, was something you haven't used for quite a while. So I decided I was going to roll in this Kaja Moon Crystal eyeshadow. Now it's like a liquid cream formula, and I really don't ever gravitate or use these kinds of shadows. I always stick with just the powders. I don't think I use this at all over, like, since the last update, minus the fact that I really can't for a portion of it. But I honestly don't know how often I would reach for it if I decided to keep it in for one more month. I think what I'm going to do is roll this out. It is very pretty. I mean, I might wear it more in the springtime when I want just something super light but still like shimmery and beautiful. And if for some reason I just want a super simple, like easy one and done type of look and run out the door, I find it's a lot more beautiful when I swatch it and it's on my finger opposed to like it actually being on my eye. Sometimes I feel like I have to build it up to get that opacity. But regardless, I really don't know how often I would reach for this. So I'm going to make the decision to roll it out. I feel like it's just kind of taking up space in this project and I can just roll in something else in place. What I might do is keep the prompt in and just find another product to replace the prompt, which I'm sure I could find no problem. Just depends on what I want to work on. So I think I'm going to keep the Necromancy prompt in, but I'm going to roll out this product and roll something else in its place. Now, last update, I managed to roll in 2 brand new prompts. So one of those prompts was Seance, which, let me actually see what it's about and tell you. So I bought it because somebody else told me to, or they recommended it. I can't quite remember if she had actually recommended it, but when I saw Alex have this Gimme Glow Summer Vibes palette, I fell in love with it and I've wanted it ever since. So that is why I purchased this, and I decided I was going to use it 10 times. I have actually used it once. The only shade I remember using was this one right here, which is Peach Snow Cone, and I loved how it turned out. Now I used more than just that in the look, but I think I wore that in the inner corner and it just pulled together the look that I was wearing and gave it something a little bit different. Don't ask me what other shades I was using or what colors because I cannot remember. I just remember being so like happy and kind of surprised with how beautiful this shade looked in the inner corner, but how it also gave that little bit of a twist. But still blended well and looked like it paired with the eyeshadow very well. I don't remember if I used Firework or not. That's the shimmer here, or anything else. I think if anything, I kind of stuck with maybe these 3. But I do remember using that one for sure, at least. So I do have 9 more uses on this palette to go. Of course, most of those looks, or at least a shade if I pull only one in, is going to be very neutral. You do have a little bits of pop of color, which I'm totally cool with. So I'm excited to reach for this 9 more times. We'll just see how long it takes to get this one out of this project. And then last but not least, I pulled in Poltergeist, which was a product that gives you trouble. So I pulled in the Aether Beauty highlighter because of this little thing back here. Super annoying to having to like wrap around the product all the time. This is what it's looking like after a total of 10 uses, which was my goal. So I'm super happy that I managed to hit the goal on this. I paired this a lot more when I was wearing like a coral eye look, or if I decided to wear the coral shade in my Pat McGrath palette. This is the highlighter that I also paired on top of the Pat McGrath highlighter. So I find like, even though it's a pink highlight, it kind of worked really well with the coral looks that I did. So I had a lot of fun using this. I'm okay putting it away for another little bit. Eventually, I would like to hit pan on this, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm not too worried about it. I feel like when I get there, I get there. And again, this thing I forgot about. But I'm happy that I'm able to roll this one out and get something else into this project. So with that being said, I have my phone next to me and I'm going to count out the prompts that I have left and what we're going to randomize. So I've thrown an arrow beside everything that I still have to use. So I'm just going to count those arrows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's quite a bit though. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we're going to randomize 1 through 16 and I'm just going to figure out what prompts or what prompt we'll be working on from that. because I am keeping in necromancy and just random or just pulling in a new prompt or a new product, sorry, we're only going to be randomizing one number for one new prompt. So there's 1 through 16, and we have number 10, which corresponds, so that's 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Domovik, so a household spirit in Russian folklore, a product that has followed you from house to house. Now that is probably a good chunk of my collection. I did move. It will be 3 years this summer, which is just crazy to think about that it's already been that long. But I have had so much, like my makeup collection has been large for quite a while. So there is like a majority of my makeup that has been brought over from my last place to this one. So let me go find a product that I haven't used in a while and a product that has been brought from house to house, which probably could be the same product. And I will come back and show you guys what I'm going to be working on. Okay, so I have my 2 new products. So first, let's start off with the prompt, or with the product that I'm pulling in for the prompt Necromancy, which again is replacing the Kaja eyeshadow. And so something I haven't used in a long time is this Tarte blush in Celebrated. Now, this could have been for the other prompt because I have had this for a very long time. But this is a blush that is very, very light, and I like to use it, like I said, it's been a very long time, but to kind of blend out or tone down other blushes if they're just a little bit too much. So that's probably what I'm gonna do with this one. I think I'm just gonna throw a 10 use mark on it just to make things a little bit easy. I think it is gonna take me quite a while to hit pan on this. That kind of was my initial thought that I wanted my goal to be. But with working on 2 blushes from my Pat McGrath palette plus others, I think trying to hit pan on another blush is just gonna be a little bit too much. So I do want to use it 10 times. I decided on 10 instead of 5 just because it is so light, so I can just use it on its own. Or if I want to pair it with something that's a little bit more punchy and that's maybe just not what I'm going for that time of day, or if it's an accidental use, like too much, then I can just pair this down with it. So I'm going to have a 10 use mark on this one if I don't break it when I drop it. And then for the last one, Domovik, something that has followed me from house to house is this Becca eyelights palette. You have seen this before, probably in this project, but in others as well, possibly. So this is what it's looking like. We have 3 pans in here. Have not touched this since it was rolled out of the last project, whatever that one may have been. But my goal is to use this shade right here, which is called Pearl, and I want to hit pan on this. This one I will probably more than likely use as a highlighter and or in the inner corner. So I don't know how long it'll take to hit pan on. Roughly the other 3 shades have taken about 30 or so uses. I was using them, as highlighters, so I was pretty much using them like every day, and it would take me about the month or so to like hit that pan. So I'm going to go with a give or take 30 uses, but I'm not going to actually keep track since my goal is only to hit pan. So I'm really excited about getting another pan in this palette. My goal with this palette specifically is just to have pan in absolutely everything by rolling it into different projects and just getting a lot of use on it. The remaining shades, these 3 right here, they are way too dark to use anything except for eyeshadow. So eventually, when I do pull in those shades, that's probably what it'll be for, is just eyeshadow. But I don't really want to work on that right now. I do want to focus on this lighter one right here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit pan on it, and then I'm going to move on and eventually pull another shade from this palette into something else. So that is my update for this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.